It's Will from SC Highlights back with another video. I just want to say I hope all of you are doing well. Please make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you never miss another one of our great videos. On a cold Saturday night in Landover, Maryland, a 27-year-old quarterback from Lawrenceville, Georgia, compiled the best performance of his life, finishing with over 350 total yards and 2 touchdowns. Taylor Heinicke finished the game with a 92 overall grade. According to PFF, or Pro Football Focus, that is the highest single game grade they have given to a Washington QB in nearly 14 years. Taylor Heinicke started the season as a free agent and eventually became the starter in Washington's first playoff game in nearly 5 years. Although he was unable to lead them to the divisional round, he played his heart out and proved everyone who had doubted him that he was actually a viable NFL quarterback who deserved to be in this league. Although his NFL experience sample size is small, he has the opportunity to build off this success. So, without further ado, let's get into who Heinicke is and how he nearly led the Washington football team to a huge victory over the Tom Brady-led Buccaneers. Heinicke was born on March 15, 1993 in Lawrenceville, Georgia to parents Brett and Diane Dodsworth. Taylor grew up playing football and credits his dad with instilling a strong work ethic in his life from a young age. He attended Collins Hill High School in Suwanee, Georgia. He experienced success during his senior season after recording 4,218 passing yards and 44 touchdowns, putting him in second and third respectively in terms of all-time state rankings. Interestingly, Heinicke was also on the MTV show The Ride, which, from what I can tell, is similar to that of Netflix's QB1, as it's based on under-the-radar high school quarterbacks competing to play in the U.S. Army All-American Bowl through a series of competitions. Despite his incredible statistics, he ended his high school career as an unranked recruit with no offers. However, halfway through his senior season, his trainer, Earl Williams, randomly encountered Old Dominion's Vice President for University Advancement and Development, Alonzo Brandon, and said that they would be sorry if they didn't recruit Heinicke. Soon after, Heinicke received and accepted an offer to play at the former FCS school, Old Dominion. After sitting on the bench for the first 5 games, quarterback Thomas DeMarco suffered an injury that placed Heinicke into the game in the second half against the nationally ranked UMass Minutemen. He had led them to a huge upset and continued to ball out. He experienced great success during these first 2 seasons as he led the Monarchs to a 7-2 and an 11-2 record, respectively. During his freshman season, he was named the National Freshman Performer of the Year, accumulating 25 touchdowns to just 1 interception. These are incredible statistics for any quarterback at any level. Following a second-round playoff loss to Georgia Southern, the Monarchs finished as the 10th ranked team in the FCS. Unfortunately for Heinicke, his father passed away following his freshman season. His father, Brett, had been one of his biggest supporters, and he had been devastated following his passing. To honor him, he got a tattoo to remember him by on his left arm. Whenever he scores, he raises his right arm to the sky and touches his left arm in remembrance of his father. His sophomore year, he had the best season of his collegiate career, finishing with 5,076 passing yards, 44 passing touchdowns, and a 68.7% completion percentage. He also flashed his abilities with his legs, finishing with 470 rushing yards and 11 touchdowns. On September 22, 2012, Heinicke led an incredible comeback against New Hampshire. The Monarchs had been down 23 points in the third quarter. Heinicke stepped up for his team in a big way, finishing with 790 total offensive yards and 5 touchdowns, becoming the first college football player at any level to achieve this impressive feat. His incredible season resulted in him winning the Walter Payton Award, given to the most outstanding offensive player in D1 FCS football. Other winners of the award include Jimmy Garoppolo, Cooper Kupp, and the current draft prospect, Trey Lance. Despite finishing at the top of the league, the CAA had been upset with Old Dominion's decision to leave their conference and join the FBS, and therefore prevented them from having any chance to win a league championship. Just as the 2017 UCF Knights had done, they declared themselves CAA champions and received 2012 CAA championship rings. During his junior season, the Monarchs scheduled FBS opponents as they began their transition to the FBS and finished with a record of 8-4. Heinicke finished the season with 4,022 passing yards and 33 touchdowns with a 70% completion percentage. After his junior season, the Monarchs joined the FBS as they became a part of Conference USA. Despite joining the higher subdivision, Heinicke continued to impress as he finished with 30 passing touchdowns and 3,476 passing yards. The Monarchs, however, struggled, finishing just 6-6. Despite an illustrious career, the downside of being in the FCS is a lack of recognition. So, as a result, Heinicke went undrafted in the 2015 NFL Draft. I was surprised to find out that Heinicke's recorded 40-yard dash during his pro day was run in 4.62 seconds, which is very fast for a quarterback, and he clearly flashed his speed during his touchdown run against the Buccaneers. Heinicke impressed scouts with his ability to extend plays. He had been seen as a very smart and humble quarterback who usually made the best available decisions. One downside at the time was the fact that he was barely 6 feet tall. However, we know in today's game several quarterbacks have changed this way of thinking. The success of Russell Wilson, standing at 5'11", and Kyler Murray, who was 5'10". He was also criticized with having a relatively average to weak arm that could lead to a career as a backup, and nothing more. Soon after the draft, he was signed by the Minnesota Vikings, where he would spend 2 seasons as a third-string quarterback. After an injury, he was released and eventually signed with the Patriots and then the Texans. Apparently, he severed 2 tendons in his foot after smashing in a door to help his friend get into his locked-out home. A strange incident indeed that may have actually led to his release. He suffered a concussion during his NFL debut against the Steelers and was eventually released. In 2018, he was signed to play as a backup for Cam Newton. In his one start, he completed 33 of 57 passes with 1 touchdown but 3 interceptions to go with it. After getting released by the Panthers at the end of the preseason in 2019, he signed with the St. Louis Battlehawks of the XFL, backing up current Lions quarterback Jordan Ta'amu. However, he did not make an appearance in any of their 5 games, and he was ready to accept a career away from football. He returned to Old Dominion to obtain a math degree. He had been taking 4 math classes and had taken half of his final exams when he got a call from Washington. His connections to offensive coordinator Scott Turner and playing under a system with the Vikings and the Panthers made him a viable quarterback option for a team deprived of quarterbacks. In case you didn't know, Washington has had difficulties at the quarterback position throughout the year. Dwayne Haskins entered the season as the clear starter and was voted captain by the team as he looked to step up and take over his role as a future quarterback in Washington. Problems with Haskins' poor performance and his lack of heart led to his subsequent benching. He appeared to not really care and had no drive to win his team games. He really did not step up as a leader. He was also fined $4,833 for breaking COVID-19 protocols. He was eventually demoted to the third-string quarterback behind first-string Alex Smith, who had just made a miraculous comeback, and Kyle Allen. Smith made this impressive comeback following a serious leg injury that nearly resulted in his leg getting amputated as a result of an infection. Just 2 years later, Smith fought his way back, compiling a 5-1 record over 6 starts. However, a calf strain suffered against the 49ers kept him out for the next 2 games. In early November, backup quarterback Kyle Allen suffered a season-ending dislocated ankle that placed him on IR. This meant that Haskins would become the starter once again, and with the quarterback injuries, Heinicke was signed to become the backup for Haskins, eventually replacing Haskins mid-game against the Panthers, and eventually finishing with 137 yards and a touchdown in a 20-13 loss. After news of Haskins violating COVID and league protocols by attending a club, he was subsequently released. In Week 17, Alex Smith came back to lead Washington to a division victory following a 20-14 victory over the division rival, the Philadelphia Eagles. Leading up to the wildcard game against the Buccaneers, it was unclear whether Smith would be able to start due to a strained right calf. The football team entered as 10-point underdogs despite being the home team. Had the decision to start Heinicke had been made earlier, this point spread could have been even larger. Heinicke got off to a slow start, having to punt and then throwing an interception on the second drive. After trailing 9-0, Heinicke got the team going with his arm and his legs, eventually resulting in a 2-yard touchdown rush from J.D. McKissick. Washington stalled for the rest of the half as they entered the locker room down 18-7. A field goal and then an eventual magnificent 8-yard touchdown scramble from Taylor cut the deficit to just 2. After diving towards the left pylon, his AC joints separated in his left shoulder. He continued to get hit, but he continued to fight back, and his grit has been well praised by his teammates. Despite all of his injuries, he continued to play, and midway through the fourth quarter, Heinicke led an impressive drive, eventually resulting in a phenomenal 11-yard touchdown pass to Steven Sims. Despite getting the ball back with 3 minutes remaining, down by 8 points, Heinicke suffered a huge sack on third down that ultimately ended the game. Following the game, star receiver Terry McLaurin said, "That dude plays with no fear, and that he gave us a chance." Former second overall pick Chase Young has also been an avid supporter, often seen praising Heinicke on the sidelines. As Heinicke said himself, "I deserve to be in this league a little longer. I've been on the other side, not playing, and it's not fun." We shall see what his future holds, but he is definitely impressed with the opportunities that have been presented. Alex Smith has said he will decide in a few weeks whether he plans to retire or not. Regardless, Heinicke has the potential to eventually take over the job if Washington either does not draft a quarterback this year or if their quarterback prospect needs time to develop. After catching up on his finals, he plans to graduate in May 2021. This concludes our video on the unlikely rise of Taylor Heinicke. Let us know if you think he will be the future quarterback for Washington or if he has a future in the NFL. Please also comment any video ideas you have for us in the comment section below. Thank you.